Yeah, this is Arkea Aurora, and I have another little message here. So, as you notice, I have been getting myself on cam with no makeup, just for you guys to be witnesses of full, like, planetary liberation and healing matters. And, when you guys see that my skin is like looking fatigued and dark with like so-called uh, taches de rousseur, like those freckles. Um, the freckles, they come and go. I've been a redhead growing up. My hair changes naturally, colors according to geography, always. But what's been going on now since the United States is because of these shots that I took, it morphed my, and then I was with no period for 2 years. So that's when they created the fake timeline that I'm a guy or that I was born a guy. And David was like yelling vehemently at my family, like, show me her medical records. What have you done to my wife? He was playing like, oh my God, he is so into me, but it was never real. So, in truth, whatever that was administered, um, has rendered, and it began in his face. Like, honestly, when this like lock began, the main part, and it like starts here at this artery, middle of my back, like almost at the bra level, and it goes to C5, and it blocks out a part of my brain. And it began one day. I was in the kitchen on the sink, and I was always like, I always made experiments because I was reading all the books of Natalie Rose and David Avocado Wolf and Gabriel Cousins, and they all have metaphysical healing centers in Florida, like the Hippocamp, Hippoclete, whatever center, where we offer like exclusively organic vegan foods, etc. Which I was organic, raw, puritarian vegan for 7 years straight up. And um, I was at the sink, and then he was obviously yelling at me as always. And that day, the topic was my money from my international account that he wanted in an American account. And I was very reluctant because I felt like there's something very wrong with this equation. Like, first of all, the guy um, isn't who he kind of said he would be online. And I met him through this woman called Lisa D'Argencio. She was in Kuwait with me, and she was a Canadian girl who was always like very eclectic, and she was very unstable. But I had fun with her because she was like super future. Like, I rollerbladed a lot in Kuwait, so she would rollerblade with me, which I did not have another rollerblade partner in Kuwait besides her. And we went to a lot of parties together, like private parties, with a lot of like Coptic girls as well. And but like Lisa was pretty like high strung, and she was pretty connected. She had problematic dad in jail. And then David saw me comment on one of her posts at some point. I had already left Kuwait. I had already landed in Beirut, and in Kuwait I had gotten a lot of emails from this woman called Karen Bishop. And Karen would like be a channeler, and she always channeled fairies and new creational energies. And she mentioned that uh, I and a divine masculine were going to be the front runners to bring on new creation, and that was in Kuwait. So I was in my office in J. Walter Thompson, and then my grandmother was gonna die. So she called me and she told me to come home now. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm doing really well. I'm making a lot of money. I'm getting like golden trophies here. And she said, I don't care. There's no way in hell I'm going to die and know that you married some Arab, patriarch, blasphemous person who's going to control you for the rest of your life. And little did she know, like in America, there are actually worse people than that. So I was like, no, I was refusing and I was fighting her. And then she said, if you don't come home now, I'm going to send your uncles by road and they're going to pick you up. Because what happens when she told me, come home now, obviously Israel bombed the Rafik Hariri airport and the powerhouse in like Psalim next to my first school that relocated there later when I left the school. And so I had to come home. So I gave my notice and I quit my job. And it fell at the right time because of other reasons, which I will not mention on tape because it does not really advance anyone now. But all I do know is I went to Beirut and then David found me on Facebook and he started to email me 500 emails every night on dimatabraoui@gmail.com, OUI, TABRAOUI, and that's the. At some point, the mayor used to write my family name like that. Then my dad and I changed to W, and I think my brother stayed OU, and maybe later he joined something. So then that's when I went home and she died. And I was completely devastated because it was not her time. And I now know it was not natural death. I know 100% she was murdered in the ER. I know 100% the doctors, this is all doctors, this is the death business. They plan ahead of time with the Illuminati game when they're going to kill people for which reasons. Like it's all to do with numerology and whatever, and the people of the families think that, oh, she's so sick, but it's got nothing to do with that. It's all a game, it's a charade, and it's a lie. So she died, and obviously I had to place an orange in her like coffin spot, like 2 oranges, against the will of all the, not druids, but whatever you call them. The Druze priests are called something else. And they're like, so like they were okay with it because one of my uncles let me put the oranges in the coffin of her and my grandfather. I put 2 oranges there. But the other uncle, Alex, became livid. He started to like yell vehemently at me from the location of the burial all the way, like when we got to my grandmother's house. All my cousins from California were in the house, and my female cousin started to cry. She's like, I can't believe, how does he talk to you this way? I'm like, what are you talking about? You don't live where I live, honey. We're used to this around here. And she was in disbelief. She's like, this is absolute abuse. How does he talk to you this way? And he always had like a penchant towards my cousins in California. And because I came to the United States through a different route than the woman in California, Muna Rad, that's my aunt there, I came through David Rogers. He said that I was going to end up dead. So, otherwise, why I'm doing this channeling now again is to state that, yes, so then David took me to his lawyer, John Willard, and he signed off all his estate to me. And he paid him $100 for my name to replace Jason Ayers and Melissa Ayers as the sole inheritors of his estate, including 1-story pictures, like all the work I did, because I dedicated 10 months of my life, plus, literally. But once we were in 95 Island Circle, I did everything for him and his art. I moved his art back from David Krisner's gallery in downtown Sarasota back to 95 Island Circle. And then I had to place the art all over the place until he brought the Islam people, Mohammed Ribat and Mohammed's father came to my house from a caravan. They said that they are the Prophet's like family, they're the Mohammed lineage, and they came into the house. And they recommended that I remove all the art from the walls because they said that the arts had jinns, like evil spirits, that's making us fight all the time. Like I tried everything. Literally, I changed religions because David hated Jesus. And I secretly in my heart thought that David was my husband from Jesus. So I thought that my role was to turn David to Jesus. That's what I thought I needed to do. I thought I had a mission, and I thought I had to tender him to get my baby. That's what I was doing every day. I wanted my child. I wanted David to have a baby, but obviously he had a completely different agenda. He wanted to destroy the living hell out of me, which he obviously really, really did. And well, no longer, because I no longer allow it, but still, I mean, it was a lot of damage done to one woman for too many years. So then, when we came here through Jason Ayres, we brought all the stuff that I had personally wrapped up and packed. Like, I had went through all his Hollywood for One Story Pictures files. I had, called every lawyer on every sheet of paper, every contact from Albuquerque to New Mexico to Ithaca to Atlanta to like Virginia mountains, like Drake, and a lot more people all the way to Los Angeles to Stu Charno and many others on the phone, innumerable hours a day, literally operating as his personal everything. Like, I did all the work from scratch. I repositioned himself. I took care of him when Brad Hagerman took a million, like $100,000 or $1 million, I'm not even sure, out of his account for Merrill Lynch when my dad didn't forward funds for me, which David wanted my dad to forward funds. And once my dad didn't, then the Americans got very pissed off, like the Merrill Lynch Jewish brokers, Brad Hagerman, who is my actual sponsor in the United States of America. Like, if you guys go through my paperwork, my sponsor is not David Rogers. My sponsor is Brad Hagerman. And he had me sign a paper that if I go broke, he doesn't owe me a penny. And then that was that on these topics. Then Jason brought all of David's art, and I had my stuff in there too in the storage unit. He put it in a storage unit here in Bluffton, and I was with him that day, but I refused to enter the office because I had suffered too much at the hand of David. But I'm always stupid. Like, I always end up robbed because obviously now Jason has all my work and I'm in the dumpster. Like, they changed my birthday. That was their plan. That's why he paid me under the table at Sage Room. That's why Caitlin forbade anyone to come to any yoga forum I launched. That's why she had forced Billy to date me so that she double fucks him with the mom. They're the insane motherfuckers. So that Billy would like always mind program me to not teach yoga. And he did it in front of my dad too. So long story short, I've been in a lineage of a lot of terrorists in America. And I literally think that it's high time that the authorities actually did something, because I don't understand why you guys want to dumb me down by force when you should instead be helping me to integrate, because I am intelligence, and that's what powerful nations do. They help and aid intelligence, global beings in integration. They don't make their lives hell and mock them at the cop station and allow the motherfucking defamities that have been hitting me. That is absolute nonsense, total woman abuse, and it's absolute disgusting, racist, meanest things ever possibly conceivable. Thanks again.